Hello, my dear sleepy friends. It's me, Golden Chonk, your perfect guide to the most mysterious corners of our world. Tonight, we journey to a place so remote, so untouched, it almost feels like a dream. A land whispered about in ancient maps, yet hidden for centuries beneath a shroud of white. Tonight, we explore the forbidden continent, Antarctica. Imagine, if you will, a land twice the size of Australia, larger than all of Europe, holding 90% of the world's ice. For so long, it was just a blank space, a frozen enigma at the edge of civilization. But as humans dared to venture closer, strange whispers began to echo across the ice and through the halls of history. Structures too symmetrical to be natural, maps showing a continent without ice, and mysteries buried deep beneath the endless white. What if Antarctica is more than just snow and silence? What if it holds clues that could rewrite our understanding of Earth's ancient past? Close your eyes, settle into your coziest spot, and let my purrs guide you into the heart of this frozen wonderland. We'll examine the myths, the discoveries, and what truly makes Antarctica Earth's most mysterious continent. You'll hear the legends, see the evidence, and decide for yourself what Antarctica is truly hiding. Our first stop on this frosty adventure takes us to the Ellsworth Mountains in 2016. Satellite images revealed a peak that seemed to defy nature. Imagine a mountain with 4 sharp faces and a pointed top, looking strikingly like the pyramids of Giza. This pyramid-shaped formation, standing around 4,150 feet tall, is clearly visible from above, a stark and intriguing anomaly against the vast, desolate white landscape. Now, most geologists will tell you that this is likely a nunatak, a peak carved by millions of years of wind, ice, and freeze-thaw weathering. Similar shapes exist in places like the Swiss Alps, like the famous Matterhorn, which also boasts a striking pyramidal form due to glacial erosion. But here's where the mystery deepens, my friends. Most natural peaks with triangular sides have only 1 or 2 flat faces. This one appears to have 4, giving it a near-perfect geometric form, almost as if it were designed. Could it be more than just a mountain? Could it be a silent testament to something long forgotten? Some researchers and theorists believe it could be a human-made structure, a pyramid now hidden beneath layers of ice. Think of the pyramids in Egypt, Mexico, and Peru. They share similar designs, wide bases, sloping sides, and a strong alignment with cardinal directions. These ancient wonders stand as enduring symbols of sophisticated engineering and astronomical knowledge. Could this Antarctic peak be a sign of a shared ancient architectural understanding, a global network of builders, or even a single older source of knowledge that predates known civilizations? Or perhaps, like the debated Bosnian pyramids, these are large hills concealing the remains of prehistoric structures, reshaped by nature over millennia, yet still bearing the subtle marks of ancient hands. The continent's massive ice sheet, over a mile thick in some areas, makes large-scale exploration nearly impossible, shrouding any potential truth in an impenetrable veil of white. The full story behind these formations remains hidden, waiting for a time when the ice might yield its secrets. As technology has advanced, allowing us to peer deeper into Antarctica's icy embrace, even stranger features have emerged. Features that seem to challenge our understanding of natural geological processes. Imagine seeing large, dark shapes resembling doorways carved into mountain slopes, or even patterns that look distinctly like man-made stairs leading into the heart of the frozen peaks. One of the most talked about formations appears near a remote area of East Antarctica. A large rectangular opening, unusually clean and geometric, with sharp, almost unnaturally straight lines that make it stand out dramatically from the rugged, natural landscape. Some even estimate it to be several meters tall and wide, large enough for a full-sized aircraft to enter, or for ancient giants to pass through. The perfect angles and smooth edges are unlike anything typically formed by ice or rock. Glaciologists, ever the pragmatists, suggest these openings could be formed by complex interactions of ice movement, katabatic winds, and extreme temperature changes, where melting and refreezing cycles create gaps that, purely by chance, take on geometric appearances. Or perhaps it's simply the top of a ridge, exposed as ice levels have lowered, creating an optical illusion against the vast, flat expanse of the ice. But then there's another puzzling discovery near the Antarctic coast, a wide cave entrance with several dark horizontal lines running parallel, rising gradually like a staircase leading into the mountain. Natural layering of snow or rock doesn't usually create such clean, step-like platforms with such consistent spacing and uniform rise. While some speculate about ancient collapses or uneven melting patterns, their even spacing and straight design hint at a more complex, perhaps even artificial origin. What adds to the mystery is how these features seem to change over time, appearing clearly in some satellite images one year, only to vanish beneath new layers of snow in others, only to reappear with different shapes or details after strong winds or seasonal shifts. It's as if the continent itself is breathing, revealing and concealing its secrets at will. But let's drift back in time, my dear listeners, to a vastly different Antarctica, a land that would be almost unrecognizable to us today. Long before it was a land of endless ice, this continent may have been a place of forests, rivers, and vibrant life, teeming with a diversity of flora and fauna that seems utterly fantastical given its current state. For over a century, geologists and paleobotanists have uncovered fossilized remains of ancient forests buried deep beneath the ice, silent witnesses to a forgotten past. In the Beardmore Glacier region, only 500 kilometers from the South Pole, leaves resembling beech trees were discovered by Robert Falcon Scott's ill-fated expedition in 1912, a poignant reminder of a warmer age. Later, on Alexander Island and the Antarctic Peninsula, researchers found upright fossilized trees, some as tall as 7 meters, still rooted where they once thrived, their petrified wood a testament to their longevity. Around them, layers of ancient pollen and organic remains paint a vivid picture of a lush, temperate rainforest that existed 100 million years ago, a veritable Eden at the bottom of the world. Despite its polar location, the global climate was dramatically warmer during that period, with temperatures ranging from 13 to 21 degrees Celsius, allowing evergreen species, conifers and ferns to dominate the landscape, even during long months of polar darkness. Recent drilling beneath the ice has confirmed this verdant past, with ancient pollen showing that the area was covered in tundra as recently as 12 million years ago. This evidence suggests Antarctica's transformation into a frozen wasteland was gradual, with some areas remaining ice-free far longer than previously thought, perhaps even offering temporary refuges for life. This leads to a compelling question, doesn't it, my sleepy friends? Could there have been enough time and favourable conditions for early human or pre-human civilizations to exist on this continent? Mainstream archaeology largely rejects this idea, as Homo sapiens have only existed for about 300,000 years, while the Antarctic ice sheets have been in place for more than 14 million years, a vast chasm of time. Yet, isolated reports and controversial discoveries continue to stir debate, fueling the imaginations of those who believe in a deeper, hidden history. One of the most enduring symbols tied to the idea of ancient knowledge about Antarctica is the Piri Reis map, a cartographic anomaly that continues to baffle historians. Created in 1513 by Ottoman cartographer Piri Reis, this partial world map includes a detailed depiction of South America and a mysterious southern landmass. What makes it truly extraordinary is that it appears to show the outline of Antarctica, not with its present icy shape, but with a coastline resembling its actual landmass, as if seen without the ice. Supporters claim such uncanny accuracy would have been impossible in the 16th century without access to much older source maps, perhaps from a lost civilization with advanced geographical knowledge, or even from an unknown people who charted the world before the ice descended. Historian Charles Hapgood popularized this idea, suggesting the map might reflect Antarctica as it looked during the last ice age, possibly around 10,000 to 4000 BC, when parts of the continent could have been ice-free. The presence of a large southern landmass, whether real or theoretical, reflects an early belief in Terra Australis Incognita, the unknown southern continent, a landmass that was largely speculative in European cartography until its discovery much later. The question of how ancient cartographers envisioned it, or if they had direct knowledge, remains a profound mystery, a whisper from a forgotten age. Adding to the intrigue, modern imaging technology has recently revealed vast ancient landscapes beneath Antarctica's thick ice cover, proving that the continent truly holds secrets frozen in time. In East Antarctica, satellite data and ice-penetrating radar have mapped a region of buried valleys and ridges the size of Belgium, a pristine, untouched landscape preserved for at least 14 million years. This landscape, with its rolling hills, expansive plateaus, and interconnected waterways, strikingly resembles Northern Europe, suggesting it may have once supported extensive vegetation and even wildlife during warmer periods. A vibrant ecosystem waiting to be rediscovered. But what caused this drastic transformation? It was part of a grander global climate shift, a powerful, cyclical pattern that has repeated itself many times throughout geological history, shaping and reshaping our planet. Our planet's climate cycles through warm periods, or interglacials, and cold periods, known as ice ages. The last major ice age began around 2.6 million years ago and ended roughly 12,000 years ago, marking the beginning of our current warm period. During these monumental cycles, entire regions can become unrecognizable, with land once green and fertile becoming covered in snow and ice, or conversely, arid deserts blooming into lush forests. Antarctica's transformation from a verdant land to a frozen desert is a clear and dramatic example of this natural cycle, a testament to the Earth's ever-changing face. However, another factor might have played an even more dramatic role: the movement of Earth's axis. Known as true polar wander or crustal displacement, this theory suggests the Earth's outer shell, or lithosphere, can shift over its fluid inner layers, rapidly moving continents into new climate zones over relatively short geological timescales. If such a catastrophic event occurred, it could explain how Antarctica moved from a temperate zone to its current position at the South Pole, a journey of hundreds, even thousands of miles in a blink of geological time. While debated within the scientific community, some studies of rock formations and ancient shorelines suggest parts of Earth's surface have indeed relocated over time, lending a degree of credibility to this audacious theory. Among the more speculative ideas surrounding such profound shifts is the prophecy of Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, a mystic who uttered predictions while in a trance state. In the early 20th century, Cayce claimed a major transformation of Earth was coming, with dramatic climate changes, rising seas, and the sinking of entire regions. One of his most striking predictions was that Antarctica, long thought lifeless, would become fertile and inhabited again. He believed changes in Earth's axis would trigger massive flooding, revealing ancient lands and wiping away modern civilizations, with Antarctica once more supporting life, its frozen lands thawing and becoming green. If Cayce's prediction was rooted in ancient memory, a collective unconscious recall of past cataclysms, it raises a haunting possibility. Could an earlier civilization have thrived on Antarctica, only to be destroyed when the climate shifted and the poles moved, their existence erased by the inexorable march of ice? Could the ice be hiding not just ancient forests, but also traces of a forgotten people, their cities and monuments buried deep beneath the vast white expanse? Beyond these historical and geological riddles, the Forbidden Continent holds many more secrets, secrets that continue to challenge our understanding of life itself. One of the most astonishing are Antarctica's subglacial lakes, hidden bodies of liquid water trapped far below the surface, isolated by kilometers of solid ice. The most famous is Lake Vostok, buried nearly 4,000 meters beneath the East Antarctic ice sheet, sealed off from the outside world for possibly 15 to 25 million years. A true lost world. Scientists believe life may still exist in this extreme lightless world, an ecosystem powered by chemosynthesis rather than photosynthesis. When Russian scientists finally reached its surface in 2012, they broke through to a world untouched by air or light for millions of years, a pristine biome waiting to be explored. Lake Vostok is not alone. More than 400 subglacial lakes have been identified across the continent, some as large as cities, veritable inland seas beneath the ice. These lakes are kept liquid by heat from Earth's interior, and the insulating pressure of the immense ice above, connected by an underground network of subglacial rivers, forming what some call a frozen wetland, a hidden hydrological system of immense scale. Recent expeditions to lakes like Mercer have revealed extraordinary bacterial life thriving in complete darkness, without sunlight, oxygen, or surface nutrients, suggesting alternative pathways for life to flourish. Some researchers even believe these lakes could support higher life forms like tiny animals, perhaps even unique species evolved to thrive in these extreme conditions. Even more astonishing was the discovery of Lake Enigma, with strange structures and rich microbial mats that look like carpets and tree-like formations on the lakebed, including bacteria never seen before in such environments. This level of biological complexity in such a seemingly hostile environment surprised even experienced researchers, leading them to ponder the limits of life. In other places, as ice shelves crack and collapse, revealing previously inaccessible ocean floors, scientists have observed parts of the seafloor hidden for centuries. Beneath the George VI ice shelf, an entire ecosystem filled with large corals, giant sea spiders, fish, octopuses, and other bizarre animals was found thriving in complete darkness, relying on nutrient flows carried by deep ocean currents from distant waters. And during drilling into the Filchner-Ronne ice shelf, a research team accidentally discovered a boulder on the seafloor covered in stationary animals like sponges and unknown filter feeders, 260 kilometers from the nearest sunlight or open water. Somehow, they were feeding, growing, and surviving in conditions thought to be completely hostile to life, a testament to the resilience and adaptability of nature. Harsh conditions, complex political agreements, and stringent environmental protections make large-scale exploration nearly impossible, leaving most of the continent untouched and unexplored, a vast white blank on our modern maps. Yet, from the few windows scientists have opened, it's clear that Antarctica is not dead. It is a living, breathing continent, full of mysteries waiting to be unveiled. One of the most unexpected sights in the seemingly uniform white expanse of Antarctica is a bright red waterfall, a surreal and almost unsettling phenomenon. Deep in the McMurdo dry valleys flows from the Taylor Glacier a vivid and surreal feature known as blood falls. Its colour is so intense and unusual that for decades it was one of the most haunting and unexplained sights in Antarctica. Standing 5 stories high, its deep red hue appears to stain the surrounding ice like an open wound, a dramatic splash of colour against the pristine white. The scientific explanation behind blood falls is as fascinating as its appearance. More than 5 million years ago, this area was submerged by the ocean. When the sea retreated, pockets of ancient salty water were left behind and eventually sealed under layers of ice, trapped beneath 400 metres of glacier, cut off from the atmosphere, light and oxygen, an isolated aquatic pocket. Over time, the water grew saltier and more concentrated with iron and other minerals, transforming into a hypersaline brine. Today, pressure beneath the glacier pushes this iron-rich, highly saline water through a fissure in the ice, forcing it to the surface. When exposed to oxygen, the dissolved iron oxidizes, similar to rusting, and turns a deep red, creating the striking and eerie appearance of what looks like blood flowing from within the glacier. But the story doesn't end with chemistry. Hidden within its iron-rich waters is an isolated ecosystem of microscopic life, a unique community of extremophiles. Scientists have discovered microorganisms that survive in complete darkness and without oxygen, feeding on iron and sulfur compounds, a form of chemosynthesis that defies our typical understanding of life. These microbes have evolved in extreme isolation, offering rare insight into how life can exist in the harshest environments on Earth, and possibly on icy worlds like Europa or Enceladus, where similar conditions might exist. Yet, despite the scientific understanding, blood falls has remained a magnet for alternative theories. Some suggest it may be a natural vent connected to a hidden underground structure, perhaps a long-forgotten base buried deep beneath the ice, with the red water being a byproduct of something deeper, artificial in nature. Others claim the water is leaking from a biological experiment, an ancient or modern lab hidden under the glacier, using iron and microbial life for unknown purposes, perhaps even bioengineering. While scientists work tirelessly to explain these mysteries, some stories defy logic and challenge what we know, lingering in the realm of speculation and wonder. Beyond the glaciers and lakes, beyond the fossils and ancient landscapes, lie stories that suggest this frozen land may still hold secrets far stranger than science has yet acknowledged. Secrets that whisper of the truly unknown. Among the most persistent legends is that of the Ningen, a creature reportedly appearing in the icy waters around Antarctica. Described as a massive pale white being with a humanoid shape, the Ningen is said to be up to 30 meters long, almost the length of a blue whale. Witnesses from Japanese research vessels claim to have seen this strange figure rise silently from the water before disappearing again, its pale form blending almost perfectly with the icebergs. Its face is often described as eerily human, with two small eyes and a wide, expressionless mouth, a blank canvas of a face. Some versions depict it with arms and hands, like a giant albino ape, while others describe it as a smooth, finned sea creature, barely distinguishable from the shifting ice flows. The legend first appeared in Japanese online forums in the early 2000s and quickly took hold, spreading through viral posts and cryptid forums. Some believe it's an unknown form of marine life, a relic from a warmer Antarctica, a deep sea creature rarely seen by humans. Others go further, suggesting it may be intelligent or even capable of walking on land. An amphibious being adapted to both the ocean depths and the icy surface. There are even those who speculate that governments know more about the Ningen than they admit, keeping its existence secret due to its potential scientific or strategic significance. Perhaps even a new species that could alter our understanding of evolution. Another creature of legend, far older, is the Kraken, the mythical sea monster of Norse folklore. Though commonly associated with the waters of Scandinavia, the Southern Ocean has its own versions of immense, elusive cephalopods. In 2016, satellite imagery near Deception Island showed a long, dark shadow in the water that many believed resembled the legendary beast, its massive form stretching across the digital image. While scientists identified it as a sea stack, a natural rock formation, the resemblance was enough to ignite the imagination. Given that colossal squid, the largest of their kind, inhabit these depths, growing up to 14 meters long with eyes the size of dinner plates, it's easy to understand why the idea of giant sea creatures flourishes in Antarctica's dark, unexplored waters. The ocean holds more mysteries than we can imagine, and the depths of Antarctica are among the deepest. But not all tales from Antarctica are about monsters. Some are far more unsettling, whispers of the uncanny that chill the soul more than the biting wind. Throughout the 20th century, explorers and scientists, enduring months of isolation, have reported strange sensations, feelings of being watched, and unseen presences walking nearby in the snow, just out of sight. The continent's long winters of complete darkness and the extreme isolation of remote research stations create an atmosphere ripe for psychological effects and, some would argue, for the paranormal. One of the most famous stories comes from Sir Ernest Shackleton, the legendary polar explorer. In 1916, during a desperate trek across South Georgia Island after the loss of his ship Endurance, he reported the sensation that a fourth member was walking with his small group, though only 3 men were physically present. Both his companions later confirmed they felt the same invisible presence, a guardian spirit, or perhaps a hallucination brought on by extreme fatigue and starvation. Other stories are darker, tales of abandoned ships and frozen crews. One enduring tale dates back to the early 1840s. A British whaling ship, the Hope, navigating near the South Shetland Islands, spotted a vessel trapped in the ice, a ghostly silhouette against the endless white. Upon approach, they discovered a schooner, the Jenny, frozen solid, its sails tattered, its mast broken. What they found inside would mark the story as one of the most unsettling in polar lore. The Jenny's crew was reportedly still on board, dead but frozen in place, upright at their stations, perfectly preserved by the extreme cold. The ship's logbook, found on the captain's desk, contained a final, chilling message from the captain. May 4th, 1823. no food for 71 days. I am the only one left alive. The Hope documented the discovery, but left the vessel undisturbed, locked in the ice, a tomb at sea. The Jenny was never seen again, swallowed by the shifting ice, or perhaps it sails the polar current still, a silent ghost ship. Another frequently recounted account comes from the McMurdo Dry Valleys, one of the driest and most desolate places on Earth, a barren wasteland of rock and ice. Scattered across this cold desert are abandoned huts and outposts from early expeditions, relics of human endeavour against overwhelming odds. Over decades, personnel stationed nearby have reported unexplained noises, footsteps in the snow when no one is around, doors creaking open and slamming shut, and disembodied voices carried by the wind. Some researchers who entered one particular hut claimed to feel a strange presence, a pervasive sense of being watched, as if unseen eyes followed their every move. Others reported tools going missing, only to reappear later in odd places, defying any logical explanation. Scientists often explain these experiences as the result of extreme isolation, harsh environmental conditions, and the psychological effects of working in such a desolate place, leading to auditory illusions, disorienting sensations, and a pervasive unease. Still, not everyone accepts this explanation. For them, the fact that the eerie blood falls is in this same region feels like too much of a coincidence, suggesting a deeper, more profound mystery at play. Interest in Antarctica and its secrets is not recent, my dear kittens. Long before modern satellites, it captured the attention of explorers, scientists, and even controversial regimes of the 20th century seeking to unlock its mysteries for their own ends. Among them was Nazi Germany, a nation obsessed with expansion and esoteric knowledge. In the years leading up to World War II, the Antarctic frontier became the focus of an ambitious and largely forgotten expedition that would later become the centre of countless theories and conspiracy narratives. In 1938, Adolf Hitler authorised a secret Antarctic mission. Officially, it was resource-based. Germany, preparing for war, sought to reduce its dependence on foreign imports of whale oil, a crucial resource for fats and lubricants. The expedition was organised quickly and shrouded in secrecy. On December 17th and 38, the vessel MS Schwabenland, a converted seaplane tender, left Hamburg with 82 men. Scientists, naval officers, technicians, and a Nazi Party representative to ensure ideological compliance. Their destination was an unclaimed territory in Queen Maud Land, between British and Norwegian sectors, a vast, unexplored region of the continent. Over the following weeks, the ship reached Antarctica's icy coastline and launched its 2 Dornier whale seaplanes, surveying enormous stretches of land and dropping aluminum darts marked with swastikas to assert territorial claim. The Germans called this new territory Neuschwabenland, or New Swabia, a name that would echo through history. In total, the expedition mapped over 600,000 square kilometres, significantly expanding the known geography of the continent. Some photographs were even taken in colour, a rarity at the time, offering a vivid glimpse of the pristine landscape. Officially, the mission ended in February 1939, just months before the outbreak of the war. The Schwabenland returned to Hamburg with thousands of aerial photographs and geological observations. However, much of the collected data was either lost in the chaos of war or remained unpublished for decades, with some surfacing only in the late 1950s. The rest, some researchers believe, may have been deliberately hidden, concealed from public view for reasons unknown. It is here that the mystery begins, weaving a tapestry of fact and speculation. For years, the 1938-39 expedition was remembered as a short scientific mission, a footnote in the history of Antarctic exploration. But after the war, whispers began to grow, gaining momentum with each passing decade. Questions were raised about what the Nazis truly hoped to find or build in Antarctica. A new narrative emerged. Some believed Germany's interest went beyond whale oil and maps. According to post-war rumours, the real purpose was to establish a permanent foothold on the continent, a hidden base far from enemy reach, a sanctuary in the event of global conflict. This alleged installation, buried deep beneath the ice, would serve as a safe haven, a clandestine research facility, or even a last redoubt for the Nazi elite in the event of defeat, a secret bastion from which they could one day rise again. The idea of secret Nazi bases beneath Antarctica may sound improbable, yet a few events fueled these suspicions and gave them a veneer of credibility. In July 1945, just 2 months after Germany's surrender, the German submarine U-530 appeared unexpectedly at the Argentine naval base of Mar del Plata, its crew offering little explanation for their prolonged voyage. The next month, another submarine, U-977, arrived under similar mysterious circumstances, having allegedly spent months submerged to avoid detection. Their commanders gave no satisfactory explanation for their long journeys or what they had been doing in the South Atlantic, sparking intense speculation. Some believed they had delivered high-ranking Nazis or valuable cargo to a hidden outpost before surrendering, or perhaps even dropped off advanced technology. To this day, no physical evidence of a Nazi base in Antarctica has ever been found, despite numerous expeditions and satellite surveys. However, parts of Neuschwabenland, especially the Schirmacher Oasis, first spotted by the Germans, remain active scientific zones, hosting international research stations, a quiet legacy of a controversial past. The story deepened with Operation Highjump, a mission that ignited imaginations and fueled countless conspiracy theories. In 1946 and 1947, the United States launched the largest Antarctic military expedition in history. Led by Admiral Richard E. Byrd, a celebrated polar explorer, it involved an immense force. Over 4,700 men, 13 ships, including an aircraft carrier and several destroyers, and dozens of aircraft. Officially, it was a scientific mission for training and mapping, an exercise in cold weather warfare and geographical survey. But the sheer scale and urgency of the operation, launched so soon after the war, sparked intense speculation that the US Navy was responding to more than just geography. Some theorists suggest Byrd's fleet was sent to investigate, or even eliminate, a Nazi presence still active on the continent, a lingering threat from a defeated enemy. Operation Highjump was unlike any Antarctic expedition before it. Organised just months after World War II, it was ambitious, unprecedented, and shrouded in a certain degree of secrecy. The force was divided into 3 naval groups, each with aircraft and icebreaker support, aiming to map as much of the continent as possible using extensive aerial photography and test military equipment under extreme polar conditions. Rear Admiral Richard H. Cruzen commanded the task force, but Byrd became the public face of America's bold presence in Antarctica. The operation established a base known as Little America 4 and conducted extensive aerial surveys, photographing over 1.5 million square miles of previously uncharted territory. However, it wasn't the photography that drew global attention, but what happened behind the scenes, and what Byrd may have encountered, or so the legends claim. According to official records, Operation Highjump lasted from December 1946 to March 1947. But the mission was cut short, ending weeks earlier than scheduled, its swift conclusion prompting a flurry of questions. Reports of damaged aircraft, unexplained losses, and unusual encounters fueled rumours that something had gone wrong, or perhaps something extraordinary had been found. Among the more persistent theories is that the mission had a hidden agenda: to locate a rumoured underground Nazi base near the Queen Maud Land region, the same territory explored by the German New Swabia expedition. Proponents point to the high number of military personnel and advanced technology involved, including long-range reconnaissance aircraft designed for deep penetration. They also reference unexplained air crashes, like the fatal loss of the Martin PBM-5 flying boat George I, which claimed 3 crewmen under mysterious circumstances. In the years following Operation Highjump, rumours circulated that Byrd had encountered something extraordinary during one of his reconnaissance flights, something that defied conventional explanation. According to certain accounts, his aircraft entered an area that should not have existed. A temperate zone amid the perpetual ice, a landscape of green valleys and warm air, a true oasis in the frozen desert. Some sources claim he saw not just a change in climate, but in reality itself. Unknown flying objects in the sky, silent and swift, and even direct contact with beings from an advanced subterranean civilization, beings who revealed profound truths. These accounts were not part of any official report, nor were they publicly acknowledged by the US government. But in the 1960s, a document began to circulate, allegedly a secret diary kept by Admiral Byrd during the expedition. In it, Byrd describes an astonishing encounter with an aircraft unlike any he had seen before, a sleek, disc-shaped craft. His instruments fail, his radio is taken over, and he is guided to a landing strip in a hidden valley. There, he claims, he is welcomed by tall beings with luminous eyes and advanced knowledge, beings who speak of a world beneath the surface. They take him to a city beneath the Earth's surface, a place they call Agartha. Agartha is a mythical kingdom said to exist within the Earth itself, a concept tied closely to the Hollow Earth theory. According to these beliefs, our planet is not a solid sphere, but a layered shell containing vast inner spaces, hidden cities, and even oceans. Agartha, the largest of these subterranean realms, is described as a civilization more ancient and advanced than our own, a utopian society that has transcended the conflicts of the surface world. The people of Agartha, sometimes called the Old Ones, are said to possess technology far beyond what is known on the surface, including vehicles that can fly without fuel and the ability to manipulate natural forces, even time and space. This idea has appeared in stories and myths across many cultures, from Shambhala in Tibetan tradition to the underworld cities of the Mayans and Celts, suggesting a universal human fascination with hidden realms. In the case of Agartha, the story gained traction in the 19th century with French and German occult writers who wove elaborate tales of its existence. But it was the supposed connection with Admiral Byrd that brought it into the modern age and the realm of Antarctica, giving it a tangible, albeit unproven, link to reality. According to the diary, the Agarthians warned Byrd about the growing danger of nuclear weapons and the destructive direction of human society, a message of peace and caution. They claimed to have observed surface civilization for centuries and feared its destructive potential, its capacity for self-annihilation. Byrd was told to return to his superiors with their message, a solemn call for peace and balance, and then sent back through the ice. And yet, this document has never been confirmed as authentic, its provenance debated by scholars and enthusiasts alike, though many steadfastly believe in its truth. Some people think the diary is fake, saying Byrd never said anything like that himself, and there's no official proof that such an event happened, dismissing it as a fanciful fabrication. Still, the story lived on, helped by the secrecy around parts of Operation Highjump and some enigmatic things Byrd said in interviews. In a rare interview published in Chile in March 1947, Byrd talked about how important Antarctica could be in the future, warning that one day the US might be attacked from over the polar regions, hinting at unknown threats emanating from the frozen south. Some people think this was his way of hinting at what he saw down there, a veiled warning to the world. As the Cold War grew stronger, the US sent more missions to Antarctica, including Operation Windmill in 1947 and 1948, focusing on mapping and resupply, and Operation Deep Freeze during the International Geophysical Year in 1957 and 1958, a massive international scientific endeavour. Byrd was still involved, but his health was worsening, and he died in 1957, just months after his last trip to Antarctica, taking his secrets with him. To this day, the full story of Operation Highjump remains a subject of intense speculation, a lingering question mark in the annals of polar exploration. While it accomplished significant scientific objectives and expanded mapped regions, its military scale and rapid conclusion have kept theorists questioning. Was it truly just a training exercise? Or did the US Navy uncover something it could not explain or control? In the final years of World War II, and especially after it ended, strange stories began to spread, captivating the public imagination. These stories spoke of unusual flying machines, objects that didn't look like any aircraft people had seen before. Witnesses described them as silent, incredibly fast, and shaped like discs, defying all known principles of aerodynamics. At first, many thought these were just rumors, products of wartime hysteria. But in the years following the war, reports of unidentified flying objects began to appear across the world with increasing frequency, seemingly from nowhere. This growing mystery led some researchers to connect two powerful ideas: the sudden rise of UFO sightings and the secret advanced technology of Nazi Germany. During the war, German scientists were working on highly advanced weapons, including early jet aircraft, long-range rockets like the V2, and experimental propulsion systems that were far ahead of their time. At the same time, parts of the Nazi leadership were deeply interested in the occult, ancient myths, and hidden powers, believing they could harness esoteric forces for military advantage. Within that world of secrecy, certain underground groups are often mentioned. One of the most famous is the Thule Society, which focused on Aryan mythology and the idea of a hidden inner earth, seeking to unlock ancient secrets. Alongside it, another group began to appear in these stories, the Vril Society. This group was said to believe in a mysterious force called Vril, an energy source that could power machines and enhance the mind, a vital cosmic energy. According to these stories, members of the Vril Society practiced meditation and rituals to contact non-human intelligences, possibly beings from other planets or even from within the Earth itself, seeking forbidden knowledge. Some theories suggest these ideas were not only spiritual, but also applied to real technology, influencing the design of advanced weaponry. Certain Nazi scientists are said to have tried turning these mystical beliefs into working machines, leading to the development of revolutionary aircraft. Three names appear frequently in these stories: Haunebu, Vril, and Die Glocke, meaning the bell. These were supposedly experimental aircraft, disc-shaped, silent, and powered by unknown forms of energy, possibly even anti-gravity, allowing for impossible maneuvers. Of all these, Die Glocke is the most well-known, described as a bell-shaped machine that gave off a strange, almost ethereal glow and made eerie noises when in operation. Some claimed it could fly without wings, defying gravity, while others believed it had the power to manipulate time or space. A true time machine. Much of this comes from later writers and researchers, and there is little physical evidence to support these claims. Most documents describing these supposed technologies are missing, unverified, or never existed, adding to their elusive nature. But the idea remains one of the most famous and persistent parts of the Nazi UFO theory. After the war, these stories only grew stronger, fueled by the vacuum of information and the general sense of global unease. In 1947, just 2 years after Germany's defeat, the world saw the first major wave of UFO sightings, beginning with Kenneth Arnold's famous flying saucers over Mount Rainier. Some researchers began to wonder if these objects were from space or advanced machines secretly developed by German scientists. That same year, the United States launched Operation Paperclip, a secret program that brought hundreds of German scientists to America, many of whom had worked on Nazi weapons programs. These scientists went on to help develop US rocket systems and advanced aircraft, revolutionizing American technology. Some believe they also brought hidden knowledge about flying disc technology, carefully integrated into existing projects. A few even think that some of the early UFO sightings were test flights of secret machines built from Nazi designs, or perhaps even captured alien technology. The Soviet Union also captured scientists, documents, and equipment as spoils of war. Both superpowers were racing to master any technology that could give them an edge during the burgeoning Cold War. But one part of the theory goes even deeper, my sleepy friends. Some believe that the Nazis didn't build these machines alone, that they had help, an unseen hand guiding their technological pursuits. According to these stories, Nazi leaders made direct contact with non-human beings, whether from another planet or another dimension, who shared their knowledge in secret through clandestine meetings, vivid dreams, or direct mental communication. These beings, it is said, provided the blueprints for the advanced flying discs and other miraculous technologies. According to some, After the war, top Nazi scientists and leaders, along with their supposed alien allies, escaped to their hidden bases in Antarctica, continuing their work in secret, far from the prying eyes of the victorious Allies. In the decades that followed, books, magazines, and television shows helped spread these ideas, weaving them into the fabric of popular culture. Theories linking Nazi science, UFOs, and aliens grew more detailed and dramatic, culminating in elaborate narratives of underground civilizations and cosmic pacts. Some claim the Nazis worked directly with extraterrestrials. Others say they discovered lost technology from ancient civilizations, remnants of a forgotten world that existed long before recorded history. Historians agree that Nazi Germany was far ahead of its time in many areas of weapons development, with jet fighters, advanced rockets, and unusual aircraft being very real. But when it comes to flying discs, anti-gravity machines, or alien contact, there is no solid evidence. Most documents describing these things are missing, unverified, or never existed, remaining firmly in the realm of speculation. However, stories like this have never disappeared. If anything, the age of satellites and high-resolution imaging has brought even more attention to the mysterious corners of Antarctica, allowing armchair explorers to scan the icy expanse from their homes. Today, sightings of strange objects, unusual formations, and unexplained shapes on the icy continent are more frequent than ever, fueled by public curiosity and readily available satellite data. With platforms like Google Earth, everyday users can now scan the frozen wilderness from their screens, often discovering anomalies that spark widespread debate. In recent years, one particular image from the southern Atlantic sector of Antarctica drew international attention. It appeared to show a long, straight trail marked in the ice, ending in a massive dark object resting at an angle, half buried in the snow. The image quickly spread online, with many calling it the crash site of a large, unidentified flying object, perhaps a secret military craft or something not of this world. The visible trail suggested movement across the ice, a dramatic skid mark on the pristine surface, and the shape of the object, partially buried, half exposed, was enough to ignite a wave of theories and passionate discussions. Some believed it was a secret aircraft, a cutting-edge prototype gone awry, while others suggested something not of this world, an extraterrestrial visitor. Another satellite photo showed a strange oval structure half covered in snow, standing out conspicuously against the smooth white surface. Its rounded shape and symmetrical design made it seem strikingly artificial, unlike any natural formation. Some online sleuths claimed it looked like a large disc, possibly even a buried craft, slowly being uncovered by melting ice, hinting at its true nature. Others noted its smooth, curved edges and proposed that it might not be a machine at all, but part of a larger, hidden structure, suggesting it could be an entrance to an underground facility, a secret base hidden in plain sight. But not all sightings appeared technological in nature. One of the most widely discussed satellite discoveries resembled a massive face staring up from the snow. Deep in the southeastern region of Antarctica, people spotted what looked like the frozen features of a large head, with eyes, a nose and a mouth, all carved into the white surface, perfectly rendered by shadows and ice. The image was quickly labelled an alien face, a relic of an ancient civilization, while others compared it to mythical beings or colossal ancient statues akin to the Sphinx of Giza. The idea that something or someone had left their indelible mark in the ice began circulating rapidly, suggesting an intentional carving. For some, it was another sign that Antarctica held the remnants of a lost past, a forgotten civilization leaving its signature. For others, it was a modern sign of watchers still present beneath the ice, observing humanity from their hidden strongholds. Elsewhere on the continent, a satellite view of a lonely iceberg caught attention when it appeared to resemble a large ship, tilted and half submerged in the sea ice. From a certain angle, it looked eerily like a cruise liner made of ice, complete with what looked like windows, a deck, and even funnels, as if a ghostly ship were trapped in time. While no one claimed it was an actual vessel, The sharp geometric lines of the formation led to suggestions that it had been shaped or perhaps constructed by intelligent design, defying natural processes. Theories ranged from secret engineering experiments to abandoned relics from an unknown past, locked in ice and slowly being revealed to the modern world. Other photos and on-the-ground reports described perfectly preserved seal bodies found miles away from the ocean, high in the mountains, far from any natural habitat. These mummified remains, sometimes hundreds or even thousands of years old, were found far from any known migration paths or food sources. No one fully understands how or why the animals ended up there, or what drew them so far inland, deep into the continent's interior. Some believe they were chasing glimmers of light on distant glaciers, mistaking them for water, a fatal mirage. Others suggest that the remains mark something more unusual, perhaps a dramatic change in climate long ago, or paths that existed when the land was different, hinting at a shifting landscape. To some, they are natural puzzles, intriguing biological anomalies. To others, they are silent clues left by the past, waiting for someone to decipher their true meaning. Scientists around the world continue to offer logical explanations for many of the strange stories tied to Antarctica. They emphasize the powerful forces of science, the harsh realities of weather conditions, and the intricate processes of geology. But for many others, the explanations are not convincing, failing to fully account for the observed phenomena. The fact that Antarctica remains one of the most restricted and heavily controlled places on Earth is, for them, proof enough that someone is hiding the truth, that there is more to this continent than meets the eye. The roots of this deep-seated suspicion lead back to one key event: the signing of the Antarctic Treaty. On December 1st, 1959, just as the Cold War was beginning to heat up, a time of immense global tension and ideological conflict, 12 nations came together in Washington, D.C. to sign a treaty that would change the future of Antarctica forever. These countries, including the United States, the Soviet Union, and the United Kingdom, otherwise fierce adversaries, had all been involved in scientific research during the International Geophysical Year of 1957 to 58, a period of unprecedented international scientific cooperation. What they signed was short in length, just 14 articles, but the agreement would soon become one of the most unusual and effective diplomatic arrangements in modern history, a rare beacon of harmony. The Antarctic Treaty officially came into force on June 23, 1961. It declared that the entire continent south of the 60th parallel would be used only for peaceful purposes, a stark contrast to the global arms race. Military activity was banned, as were nuclear tests and the dumping of radioactive waste, ensuring its pristine nature. Scientific research was to be free and open to all signatories, fostering collaboration and shared knowledge. Countries could not make new territorial claims or expand existing ones, effectively freezing territorial disputes, and anyone conducting research had to share their findings with the world, promoting transparency. At first glance, it seemed like a noble effort, a way to preserve a unique environment for science and peace, a testament to international goodwill. Over the years, more countries signed on. Today, over 50 nations are part of the agreement, making it a truly global accord. But it is exactly this sudden cooperation at a time when many of these countries were otherwise in deep conflict that has led some to question the true purpose of the treaty. The treaty was signed just 14 years after the devastation of World War II, with the Cold War in full swing, and the United States and the Soviet Union competing fiercely in arms, space, and global influence. Yet, amidst this intense rivalry, these same countries somehow agreed to completely demilitarize the largest unexplored landmass on Earth, suspending their geopolitical differences for this one continent. For some, that timing feels too convenient, raising one central, provocative question. What exactly was happening in Antarctica that was so important, so compelling, that it forced such disparate powers to unite? Today, Antarctica is not technically off limits, but access is strictly controlled, far more so than any other continent. Only a small number of scientists are allowed to live and work there, and even they need special approval, extensive training, and specialized equipment. Tourists can visit, but only in specific coastal areas. and under close supervision, with strict rules about where they can go and what they can do. The vast interior, covering millions of square kilometres, remains almost completely inaccessible, a true wilderness. There are areas where aircraft are not allowed to fly, and certain regions are marked as off-limits due to environmental protection, or, some speculate, for other unspoken reasons. Research stations can only be visited with permission, and all activities are closely monitored. All of these rules are part of what makes Antarctica feel like a forbidden world, a place where secrets might be kept. Some believe that alien technology lies buried under the ice, recovered from ancient crashes, or hidden by advanced beings. Others think Antarctica was once home to a lost civilization, perhaps a true physical manifestation of Atlantis, whose remnants lie frozen beneath the surface. There are even those who argue that governments are conducting secret experiments there, far from public oversight and scrutiny, experimenting with advanced weaponry or unknown biological agents. The secrecy, the surveillance, the restrictions, all of it, in their view, points to the truth being kept from us, a grand conspiracy playing out on the world stage. Over time, the Antarctic Treaty expanded into what is now called the Antarctic Treaty System, including additional agreements and environmental rules, with its own secretariat based in Buenos Aires. Every year, member countries meet to discuss science, safety, and preservation. But these meetings are not open to the public, adding another layer of opacity. While many argue that the system effectively protects Antarctica's pristine environment and scientific value, others say it protects something else entirely, something far more profound and perhaps dangerous. While for most people, Antarctica is nothing more than a forbidden continent, a realm of myths and conspiracies, for scientists, it is much more than that. For them, Antarctica is a huge natural laboratory, a place where the past is preserved in ice, and where the future of our planet may already be written, a vast, living record of Earth's history. Despite the many myths, conspiracies, and legends, Antarctica's true importance may be even more extraordinary, not because of what it hides, but because of what it reveals about our planet and our place in the universe. For decades, scientific missions to Antarctica have given us a clearer understanding of the world we live in, providing crucial data on global climate systems. Deep within its thick ice sheet, more than 4 kilometers deep in some places, are trapped layers of ancient air. Each layer is a time capsule, holding invaluable data on temperature, atmospheric gases, and environmental changes that go back over 1 million years. A geological thermometer and atmospheric archive. By drilling into the ice and analysing these ancient air bubbles, researchers can study Earth's climate history with unparalleled detail and compare it to today's rapidly warming world, allowing for more accurate climate models. The discovery of the ozone hole above Antarctica in 1985 was just one dramatic example of how Antarctic science can uncover invisible but global threats, proving its critical role in environmental monitoring. And while the ice offers a profound window into the past, Antarctica's future may be shaped by something far less expected: invaders. These invaders are real, and they are alive, often tiny, but with potentially catastrophic consequences. Scientists now warn of an increasing number of non-native species reaching Antarctica, carried inadvertently by ships, aircraft, food supplies, and even people's shoes, hitchhiking their way to the pristine continent. A single housefly sneaking aboard a research vessel or a seed stuck to a jacket can become a serious biosecurity threat, capable of disrupting delicate ecosystems. In 2014, a hydroponic facility at Australia's Davis Station, designed to grow fresh vegetables in the harsh environment, was overrun by a tiny alien species, a springtail, never before seen in that part of the continent. They multiplied quickly in the warm, moist environment and were discovered floating across the water surface, a biological invasion in miniature. Scientists responded immediately. The entire facility was shut down, sterilised, and eventually removed from the site, treated like a viral outbreak, highlighting the extreme measures taken to protect the continent. In this fragile ecosystem, Even the smallest intruder can cause unpredictable and irreversible damage. Other invasions have been harder to detect, insidious and slow-moving. A mushroom fly found in the sewage system of a research station refused to disappear for over 20 years, a persistent alien presence. Marine species, such as mussels from distant parts of the world, have also been found along the Antarctic Peninsula, likely transported by the hulls of tourist ships or research vessels, clinging to the submerged surfaces. Though small, these creatures can change entire ecosystems if allowed to spread, outcompeting native species and altering food webs. With warmer temperatures melting the outer edges of Antarctica, many areas once protected by impenetrable ice may soon become accessible to humans and to pests, creating new pathways for invasion. For scientists, these biological incursions are not just practical problems, they are urgent warnings. The balance of life in Antarctica is delicate, evolved over millions of years in isolation, a unique evolutionary laboratory. And now, that isolation is breaking down. Researchers are racing against time to document native species before they are pushed out by newcomers, trying to preserve what remains. Antarctica may be the last place on Earth untouched by industrial development, but that protection is no longer guaranteed. Some researchers have even suggested that the invasion of non-native life might offer clues to a much broader question. What happens when two ecosystems or two worlds collide? In this sense, the arrival of foreign organisms in Antarctica mirrors the curiosity behind theories of alien life. When scientists speak of alien species, they do not mean beings from other planets, but the concept is not far off. These organisms are unknown, arriving from outside, changing the environment in unpredictable ways, much like an extraterrestrial invasion might. As Antarctica warms and becomes more accessible, the continent is entering a new phase, a period of dramatic and irreversible change. Tourism is growing, with more cruise ships navigating its icy waters, and supply routes are expanding, bringing more human activity. The natural barriers that once protected it, the bitter cold, the violent seas, the sheer remoteness, are starting to weaken, making it vulnerable. For science, this means opportunity and danger in equal measure. Another big question scientists are trying to answer on this hidden continent might be the most important one for the whole planet, for all of humanity. Over the past century, average global temperatures have risen at an alarming rate, a trend that is accelerating. But few places have felt this change as deeply as Antarctica. The Antarctic Peninsula, in particular, is warming faster than nearly anywhere else on Earth. In some regions, temperatures have increased by nearly 3 degrees Celsius in just the last 50 years, a dramatic and concerning shift. As a result, glaciers are retreating at an unprecedented rate. Sea ice is melting earlier each year, and entire ice shelves have begun to collapse, breaking off into the ocean. These changes are not just local, they are global. Antarctica holds about 90% of the world's fresh water in its thick ice sheets, an immense reservoir. If this ice melts, sea levels around the world will rise, threatening coastal cities and low-lying islands. The complete melting of the West Antarctic ice sheet alone could raise global sea levels by more than 3 meters, enough to inundate vast swathes of human habitation. While a full collapse might take centuries, the process may have already started, with irreversible consequences. And as the ice recedes, exposing land that has not seen sunlight for millions of years, scientists are starting to ask a question that once seemed unthinkable. Will Antarctica become green again? It may sound impossible, a vision from a distant past, but this continent has not always been covered in ice. Around 100 million years ago, during the age of the dinosaurs, Antarctica was a warm and forested land, a vibrant, temperate continent. Fossil records show that the continent once supported rich ecosystems with trees, ferns, and even wildfires, suggesting a climate capable of sustaining lush vegetation. Beneath today's thick layers of ice lie the remnants of ancient rivers, valleys, and entire landscapes frozen in time, waiting to be revealed. If the world continues to warm at its current rate, parts of Antarctica, especially the coastlines, may slowly return to those earlier conditions, transforming once again into a more hospitable environment. Some scientists believe that by the end of this century, Warmer temperatures and increased rainfall could allow for grasslands and hardy plants to grow along the fringes of the continent, painting patches of green across the white. Invasive species like bluegrass have already been spotted on the peninsula, taking root in newly exposed areas, and colonies of Gentoo penguins, which prefer milder conditions, have begun moving farther south, following the retreating ice. In the next 200 years, experts suggest that certain areas, especially near the coast, may become mild enough to support limited agriculture, a stark contrast to its current barrenness. Barley, potatoes, and grazing animals could survive short growing seasons in carefully chosen locations, creating self-sustaining outposts. According to scientists, it is even possible that small human colonies could one day exist there without relying entirely on imported food, becoming truly self-sufficient. However, this potential greening comes with a steep price, a global catastrophe. The melting of ice sheets will drastically alter Earth's climate systems, leading to more extreme weather events. Rising seas will threaten coastal cities across the globe, displacing millions and redrawing coastlines. Ecosystems that have survived in isolation for millions of years could be overwhelmed by new species, leading to extinctions and a loss of biodiversity. And the very landscapes that draw scientists to Antarctica, the untouched wilderness, the frozen silence, the pristine beauty, may be lost forever, replaced by something entirely different. Antarctica's extreme conditions, including its months of darkness and low solar angles, will continue to limit what is possible, even under extreme warming. For most of the continent, especially deep inland, it will remain too cold, too dry, and too dark to support anything like traditional farming or long-term settlements. But along its edges, where the sun shines longer and the temperatures rise higher, life may begin to return, a poignant harbinger of a changed world. The future of Antarctica is still uncertain, a grand experiment playing out on a planetary scale. Some believe it may become Earth's last refuge, a cold sanctuary for life as equatorial regions grow hotter and less habitable. Others warn that once we lose control of ice melt, the consequences will move far beyond what we can predict or manage, unleashing forces we cannot comprehend. What is certain is that the world is watching. Antarctica, long seen as a frozen relic, is becoming a mirror of human impact and a symbol of what is to come, a warning and a promise. Scientists will continue to monitor its changes from remote bases and satellite eyes, searching the ice for clues not only to our past, but to our future, hoping to understand its profound message. The forbidden continent is no longer as silent as it once was. Its glaciers are cracking, its weather is shifting, and its secrets are beginning to thaw. Until the ice fully reveals what it has hidden, Antarctica remains the last great unknown. A land of silence, science, and suspicion. Now, my dear friends, as the mysteries of Antarctica swirl in your minds, allow your own thoughts to drift. Perhaps you'll dream of ancient pyramids beneath the ice, or perhaps of tiny microbes thriving in hidden lakes. Whatever your dreams may hold, know that the world is full of wonder, both seen and unseen. Rest well, and I'll be here, purring softly, ready to guide you on another adventure into the unknown. Good night, my sleepy friends. Meow. Meow.